Hello, hello, hello. I'm doing my first ever book review. This May is ALS Awareness Month, and at the end of last month, Steve Gleason's book was released. It's A Life Impossible and beautiful title, Living with ALS, Finding Peace and Wisdom Within a Fragile Existence, Steve Gleason with Jed Duncan. So this book hit me at a time when when you have ALS, everything changes and there's different parts, ego, which you should let go of. But other things happen. I ended up, it's kind of funny. I had gone to a group and I'm an advocate, actually on the national level for, you might hate me, and it's okay if you hate me, for gun safety. I'm a survivor, and I think that is important to speak up. There's too many lives lost right now. I also do meditation facilitation for Dharma recovery, because that's another part of life that we're losing too many lives to. So that's me. Anyway, so I had gone to this meeting and someone had asked me, about a plug, and they're like, oh, because I had posted something, one of the videos I had put up about, hashtag my ALS story. And they asked me about my mobility. And I said, well, I'm kind of, I'm on a plateau right now, but I can still move, so I got it. But I ended up saying, I'm amazing. 4.5 years into ALS and still talking and walking. Yes, I am amazing. But, it's kind of like that ego thing. I went to another meditation here in Houston. There's the Religious and Spirituality Institute. And I think the person that was leading it not only probably has a PhD, but probably is more involved with Zen type of meditation. The guiding was just a little bit different. But I had mentioned that, kind of purpose was what I was coming up with my meditation. They're like, and I, it shared my embarrassment about saying I'm amazing. They're like, no, you're amazing. We're going to know you as amazing, Kate. It's like, no. And then this book drops in my lap. My choice on Audible. I will share the link from Amazon, how to get the book. And I'm also going to share a link to donate for Team Gleason. Steve Gleason has given a brutally honest view into his life with the movie and this book. He starts it out with a beautiful juxtaposition of the burning monk, Thich Nhat Hanh, and how he was stoic and in a deep meditative space while he was burning alive. Hard. The book chronicles his life. It's kind of funny. It's like he has sporadic ALS, which out of ALS, sporadic forms of ALS are 90 to 88% of ALS cases. And to have ALS affect a football star, which you can think about, all the head and concussions, that's linked in, to possibility of neurodamage for ALS. But this man, from having a dad that was in Vietnam, me too, fundamentalist Christian raising in some ways. Yeah, my mom was a fundamentalist Christian, but was actually in a Christian cult. Going to Catholic high school and having that impart in him an opener mind and his innate skill. The gentleman is a beautiful example of a good human. Traveled a lot, went to New Orleans, and, just hearing the story of his getting to New Orleans and meeting Michelle and that whole process. And then, Katrina. Thoughts on that, because this is my review and thoughts. I can remember when Katrina happened, I knew that when shots were fired at Mercy, they closed the borders. The only way we could get things, being in Houston, you know, hurricane surrounding places help others. I mean, I got on my knees and cried when I heard someone from Mississippi saying he was a nurse and that they needed help. There was too many for him. I mean, you know, on my knees crying, God, you know, help, right? Churches, that's what we could give, you know, socks, clothing, dry clothing, blankets, towels, Vicks Vapor Rub, because, you know, a lot of people did die. I became a Texas Ready nurse and went to the Astrodome. No, I didn't go to the Astrodome. They took me to Reliant. They switched that. So I went to Reliant and I saw the largest amount of towels I've ever seen in my life. I mean, piles and piles of towels. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's a hurricane. Let's give you some towels. I was excited because I was going to be with the CDC. You know, New Orleans did have a higher rate of tuberculosis. So, you know, me and my little, okay, I'm a nerd. I, you know, nursing, I wanted to help people. Heard the story of yellow fever in 4th grade and I wanted to go help the people. And I think I have. Worked in crash trauma, ended up setting it up. One man came in and after losing your city, losing everything you own, he was complaining of chest pain. And it ended up being Alka-Seltzer. Gave him Alka-Seltzer and a hug. Later, my hospital received people that were on the bridge, and I can remember this one man was just catatonic there. And the other nurse and the paramedic were talking, and I just looked at the man and said, "Are you hurting?" He said, "Yes." I forgot to cry out. So tired of crying out, can't cry out. Didn't want his clothes cut. He was going to have to go into immediate surgery because he had ischemic bowel. So kind of like a heart attack in your intestines. So clothes were taken off. We scrubbed him high hell in a bunch of soap and water and rinse, rinse, rinse. But one of our coworkers took his clothes home and washed them. Got him comfortable. But I can tell you through all of the things that have happened, you know, shared cities and seeing so many evacuees and being a place they came and hear taste of Cajun culture, through all of that, seeing, you know, that the Saints had practiced in San Antonio and everybody on that team. I mean, think about it. The Superdome was a site that was where people were during the hurricane. They built it back up. And when Steve Gleason blocked that punt for the Saints, yes, it was on the NFL, everyone was watching. I can't tell you, even here in Houston, even me that doesn't really watch a lot of football, the joy and the resilience, and just like Peggy Martin's Roses, that was so amazing. So amazing. I really have enjoyed, in reading the book, Steve's thoughts of, you know, his intellectual thoughts and different quotes that came up, and hearing the story of real love he and Michelle sealed, and knowing even seeing the movie, you know, after he got the experimental spinal things, I knew I never wanted to do spinal things because that scared me. I don't know if that caused his progression earlier. But when you lose ALS, it blows your mind. It is a disease that affects almost everything in your body. It affects your relationship, you know, caregivers. You know, the unsung heroes of ALS are the caregivers. And what Steve has done, and Michelle, in creating Team Gleason, I need to mail this back. Thank you so much. You have not only spoken your voice, but you've given voice to so many others that have ALS. I will actually mail the email to get return it. That ability to give voice to, before Medicare, you know, covered it, causing the raising so you could be present and more interactive with people instead of being that in your power chair. And now Team Gleason's advocating for people to travel. You hear about some of the travels and really interesting places and experiences they travel in the book. Michelle is an amazing woman. No great man is great without a great woman behind him. Extremely vulnerable sharing, and I don't think there should be any judgment. What happens in people's relationships, if they choose to share it, awesome. If not, that's their lives. And nobody understands, unless you've been in it or been around it, the cruelty and the brutality of this disease. It's interesting that Steve also has gone down the motive and, Christian, Buddhist thought. I found that one of the people that I have enjoyed is actually Robina Curtin. I like her a little bit more than Pima, though bless Pima. Talking about meta and creating that program for kids and sports and NOLA. I mean, building back after destruction. And that has, in the way that the Gleason's family and the strength within that Cajun culture and that beauty, it has. I mean, I remember listening to Steve when he would do his YouTube talks, and there was one when he was having a beautiful talk and very intellectual, and people were, the comments bothered me, help me, help me. But this book has that, his voice, that beautiful intellectual exploration that reverberates, and hearing his voice. I can't even imagine traveling, being trached and such, and I know that he shares the struggles of before he was trached. Now I'm 4.5 years in, and I'm about 6%, my disease process is about 6%, and for some reason I'm stuck at this plateau, and it can change at any time. I think for me, being from a family that has ALS, and when I was a teenager, I had a lot of young gay men that were friends of mine, and being of Gen X, late 80s, early 90s, I lost a lot of friends to AIDS. I remember I was going to be kicked out of my house if I held babies with AIDS and rocked them because their mamas died. There's a lot of cruelty in this world. And being a hospice nurse and having the family history, hope is much a different thing to me than it is to a lot of people with ALS. I took care of someone that actually had my form. So not only in my family did I see it, I've seen it in professional life. The hope that Team Gleason has given so many, and the hope that the family has, and his beautiful children, River and Gray, have gotten to know their father, and this is something they will know. And I love the fact that the movie started with River and this book started with Gray, and that they will know that their father was a deep thinker, not only a NFL starred player, a wide traveler, a loving husband, a great friend, but a good voice. And how much their mother survived through. I mean, when you love somebody and they're going through this, and you see all the ragged, rude, horrible changes ALS does to the body, to find a place where you can have children and keep the family. It goes up until, into this year. And he shares that the last part of this book he wrote with his blink. I didn't even know that happened. I didn't even know. I should have known. I should have known. But to have dry eyes, I have really dry eyes actually. I'm supposed to wear Vaseline drops in my eyes at sleep, and the gel drops. So I feel that. but not being able to control your blink, not being able to control your breathing, and all the near-death experiences people have with trachs and having tubes untouched, and having the presence of mind to stretch your mind and find that meditative place. And meditation is a skill. It's like riding a bike. Nobody is the expert of that. You know, the Buddhists say it takes several lifetimes. The strength of this man, the strength of his wife, the strength of the team around him, the strength of his children. Being able to share a honest truth experience of ALS not only has helped me, has reverberated between me, and we have different forms of ALS. It all ends up the same. We're all going to die. You know, he talks about at the end about the Impermanence Project and wanting to be awake and not sedated during it. There's a book called Hospice's Habit, Gone From My Sight, and I can share as a hospice nurse and seeing people with ALS and people without ALS die. There's a process that goes through, and there's points where you go in and it's an eternal thing where you're sleeping more and reviewing your life, and similar to the way this book shares your life. But that's a big internal process. You may be kind of like in a semi-comatose state, and you can hear everything that's going around you. I don't know what happens. People say that they see people that they love that are gone. They may see them. Even one of my most ardent atheist patients and friends that said that they have heard afterwards, whether it is a light, a cry, or something of that person once they're gone. Now, Buddhists say to leave the body for 8 hours, to have the little points of subtle consciousness dissipate out. Windows open, it's an old Swedish one. In our subtropical weather, having some dry ice around is not a bad idea. What a wonderful book. An Impossible Life. Peace and wisdom through a fragile existence. Absolutely beautiful. I will remember this book, and it has affected me on a level. Not only have Team Gleason helped me, but this brutally honest truth and sharing your life so much, I commend you. I thank you. I thank Michelle for allowing it to happen. Please, anybody with ALS, anybody that's curious, buy this book. And if you can, donate to Team Gleason. They help so many people, and we need to support them. It's amazing. And really, the book is an abject discussion of life with ALS. And it's a different form. So while I'm at this point, it can change. I've recorded my synthetic voice. I don't know if I'll be able to use the eye gaze because I have this neurological thing where my eyes go back and forth. I don't know. And I don't know if I'll get that point. You know, this is a rare insight. I do highly 5.0 reviews in the highest. Please read this book and support Team Gleason. Thank you. Oh, one last thought. They talked about metta a lot, and metta, loving kindness, is beautiful, but compassion. This is a book by Thupten Jinpa. He's a PhD. He worked with the Dalai Lama. But after metta, compassion, putting it out into the world and having self-compassion is so important, I think, for any person. It can help you grow. And thank you. Have a wonderful day. And please find the beauty in the day. And support Team Gleason and read Steve's book. Thanks. And very last, not only find the beauty in the day, but know that love is an energy. And just like the atom bomb, energy can't be destroyed. Love lives on beneath the wave.